Shame is the lowest vibrating emotion that there is. If you have heard any of my other podcasts where I've talked about shame, then you might be familiar with this. But if you haven't, that's okay. I will explain it today if you are willing to get real. Welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. Today is episode 559. This is Get Real episode number 127. So let's get real. When shame is a good thing for your weight loss motivation. Hello, welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. I am JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, weight loss mindset expert, and founder of the Inner Self Diet. The Inner Self Diet is the diet that you need if you have been struggling and nothing's working because you keep doing food diet after food diet after food diet, and maybe you've noticed that they don't fix the emotional problems that are at play with your connection with food. If you don't heal the root of why you continue to use food as a crutch, why you emotionally eat, why you binge eat, why you use food for something other than it's supposed to be used for. Food is supposed to be fuel. If you don't get to the bottom of this problem, if you don't heal the root of it, if you don't heal the why that drives you, you can do food diet after food diet after food diet after food diet, and you might lose some weight, but you always end up boomeranging back because you've never actually addressed the real problems. I have been coaching smart, successful women and a few cool men through my proven, powerful, step-by-step system, the Inner Self Diet, since 2009. I have never seen it fail. The only way it can fail is if you don't do the steps. Today, what we're going to do is look at this topic of shame, and we're going to get real. I need to explain to you also what it means to get real and give you a warning. But before I do that, if you don't already have my free cheat sheet, go ahead and get that right now. It's really easy to read. You could probably do it in a couple minutes. It's a 10-part cheat sheet for your successful weight loss. You can get that right now at www.easyfunweightloss.com. So this is Get Real episode number 127. Since I started this podcast back in 2013, the first week of January, the first Thursday of that month, I have been doing one Get Real episode per month. So this means that it's the 127th month now, and the episode number, though, is 559. So, yeah, that's a few podcasts. If you go to fearlessfatloss.com/blog, every single podcast since January 2013 is located there. What about getting real? I have a warning for you before we go any further, because you will not like today's episode if you are not willing to get real. And what does it mean to get real? It means just to be totally honest with yourself. You have to stop lying to yourself. You know what? People lie all the time. And I've been in that place before where I was lying to myself about what I was really eating and why I wasn't making progress with my weight. But guess what? The scale never lies. You can lie forever, and you can lie to yourself and tell yourself that someday you can lose weight, but if you really could, you'd be doing it right now. So when you get real with yourself, you take a look at where you are, where you really want to be, and what are you doing to get there? Because if all you're doing is talking, that's not action. how will you ever get to where you want to be? How will you ever get to your goal weight? So if you are looking for a podcast that's going to enable you to stay stuck or give you more excuses to make or more people to blame or more delusions to create, then you definitely won't like today's podcast episode, and you probably won't even like the JoLynn Braley Show, so you might want to exit now. And for you who is staying, what is the purpose of getting real with yourself? Well, you can't get from here to there if you don't know where you are here. And if you're not being honest with yourself here, then it's like you're trying to buy a ticket to the Bahamas and you're calling up the ticketing office and they're asking you, where are you flying from? And let's say that you're in New York, but you tell them that you're flying out of Vegas. It just doesn't make any sense. You have to get real with yourself about where you are now, not to beat yourself up, not to be mean to yourself, but just get real. Like, what are you doing? And what are you not doing? And why aren't you getting help? And why do you keep saying that you can do it alone when the scale shows that you're not doing it? Why are you still emotionally eating? Why are you still binge eating? Why are you so afraid to, quote unquote, give up your food? Which, interestingly enough, when you have a weight loss mindset, you don't feel like you're giving anything up. But that's another topic for another time. So if you are willing to get real, then stick around, and we're going to talk now about this topic of when shame is actually a good thing for your weight loss motivation. No sugarcoating, no, oh, we're such good people, everybody is awesome. Nope, let's get real. Because otherwise, you might not ever get to your goal weight. Okay, so the reason that I want to talk about this today, because there is a story going around, and it's been going around for a few years. Some people call it the body positivity movement. And what it is a storyline to say that being unhealthy is good, that being obese is good, that hurting your body is good, that hurting your health is good, and shortening your lifespan is good. And I'm here to say none of those things are good. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional at all. I'm just using common sense. And you can look any of this up on the internet if you want to. But for one thing, if you are 100 pounds overweight, do you know what that does to your heart? What about your knees? What about your back? What about your feet? You see, the human body is not supposed to be carrying around a bunch of excess weight. It's just not healthy. It's just not a good thing. How can you really get everything that you want out of life when you can't even walk around the block without getting out of breath? How can you really go for it in your business or in your career if you don't have the energy to go for it? And how can you have the energy when you're toting around or lugging around a whole bunch of extra weight? Not to mention the emotional weight, not to mention the weight of low self-esteem, not to mention the mental weight. All I'm talking about here is the physical weight. It's not a good thing. And anybody who says it's good, it's not. It's just doesn't make any sense. So these people who are out there taking pictures of themselves overweight and saying, oh, yay, I feel so good about myself. Is that really true? And I'll give you an example. You know who Melissa McCarthy is? She said in the past that her life had never been better since she stopped trying to manage her weight. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if she used that word, manage her weight, but she said, when she gave up and she stopped trying and she gained a whole bunch of weight. She said she was so much happier. Well, if that was true, why is it that several years after that, she lost a lot of weight? Why? If it was so wonderful, it's not wonderful. I mean, you can eat all kinds of ice cream. You can eat a whole cake, but the results that you get are not something that I think anybody should be proud of. And that's the storyline that some are going to. And I can understand why that would be attractive, because when you really want to lose weight and you can't stop overeating, these are the people who have given up. And they're just saying, okay, well, hey, here's this group of people who say it's great to be fat, it's great to be obese. I can hang out with them and everything will be wonderful. You know what? As I'm talking right now, I am reminded of a post that I read on Reddit by a man. He was married to a woman, and the reason that they had gotten married, well, not the only reason, but something that they used to have in common was that they both lived a healthy lifestyle. And after they were married for a few years, she was struggling with her weight like she never had in the past. And then she made a decision that she was going to join this body positivity movement that says that you can be obese and be wonderful and everybody should just love you for that. Well, guess what? He wasn't attracted to her anymore. And that doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Okay? There are men who are attracted to healthy women. And there's also men out there who are attracted to obese women. You could see that on My 600-Pound Life. But that's a different, that's something else going on there. It's easy to control someone who is basically immobile. And if you're afraid of being abandoned, you can pretty much guarantee that someone who is almost immobile won't abandon you. But getting back to this Reddit story, the husband wrote that his wife had just let herself go. And they were young, you know, like in their 20s or early 30s. And she claimed to him, she stated to him that he should just accept her as she was and that everybody should love her as she was. The fact of the matter is, you can't control or dictate to other people how they should feel about you. If you yourself love where you're at, honestly and sincerely, that's one thing. But then you who's listening to me talk right now, you're not in that camp, because if you were, then you wouldn't be listening to my podcast, because my podcast is about getting to your best weight, your healthiest weight, and being fit, being healthy, not just in your body, but especially in your mind and in your emotional state, so that you can keep the weight off. So in this storyline, there's a lot of people out there and a lot of women who they want the public to embrace them and be proud of them being fat or obese. So they'll put their pictures up and say, oh, look at me. I didn't want to take a picture of myself, but I'm so proud that I am now. And they're like, 150 pounds overweight. Why would you want to be proud of hurting your body? Why would you want to be proud of shortening your lifespan, especially if you have children, if you have a husband, if you have anybody who cares about you? If you don't have any people who care about you, do you have a pet who relies on you? Why would you want to shorten your life and make things harder for yourself and be proud of that? And why would anybody in the public want to enable that person strangers? Why would they want to cheer them on? That's actually, now that I'm talking about it, that's actually a little sick. To cheer somebody on to be unhealthy, that's not very nice, is it? It's not a loving, nice thing to do. I'm being serious. How could you feel good about yourself for cheering somebody else on who is hurting their own body? You know? Carrying extra weight is not a fun night at the fair. Everything is harder. And I'm only talking about the physical state. I'm not even talking about the heavy, 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 heavy emotions, the mental state. And, these people can claim that they're happy. I guarantee you that if they could lose the weight, they would. If they could get control of their eating, they would. Because it's not fun. It's not fun to live like that. So what about this topic here of when shame is a good thing for your weight loss motivation? So shame is the lowest vibration, the lowest vibrating emotion that there is on the scale of emotions. Negative emotions are not bad. It's okay to feel any negative emotion as long as you don't get stuck in it, and especially if you're not taking action out of that emotion to hurt other people. For example, rage is a negative emotion. There's nothing wrong with feeling that. But if you take action out of that, that's not good. So you have to know how to, first of all, recognize what you're feeling. And then you have to know how to move through those emotions. These are all things that I do with my coaching clients in the Inner Self Diet, because the reason that you're overweight is not just the food. Part of it is the food. And this is also a reason that some have given up and claim that they're happy being obese, because processed food is so highly addictive. I totally understand that. It is very addictive, and I have been addicted to it myself. I totally get that. But why give in to that addiction? Why not heal the root of the problem so that you can get off of the addictive food? It only takes 3 days of eating clean to clean most of that chemical addiction out of your body. Give it a full 2 weeks and you won't even want that processed food. If you're eating clean and you're eating the right kinds of fruits, some fruits have too much sugar in them, so you don't want to be eating those when you're working on your weight loss. Maybe later you can. You have to know yourself. But that's something for another podcast. I've got podcasts out there about eating clean. I want to stick on this subject here of the shame. But anyway, it's not bad to feel negative emotions. You just want to make sure you don't get stuck there. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel depressed. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel shame. You just have to keep moving, though. You have to keep moving in the direction towards feeling better. And this is a deliberate exercise, a deliberate, conscious action instead of being a victim to your mind and your emotions. So what if you were to allow yourself to really get real with yourself? Look in the mirror. Look at the scale. I've had a lot of coaching clients, when they first came to me, they hadn't weighed themselves forever because they were afraid to see what the scale said. Why not get on the scale? And if you do feel ashamed of how far you've fallen, I say, why not use that shame to motivate yourself to do something different? Don't wallow in the shame. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't yell at yourself mentally and then go eat a whole cake. But instead, why not get real and look at what you've done to yourself and then make a decision? Okay, so what am I going to do now? In my opinion, that would be much more productive than telling yourself a story that being overweight and obese is something to be proud of. It's not. Like I said before, especially if you have anybody who cares about you, why would you want to hurt your own health when you have other people who care about you? If you can't do it for yourself, maybe think about them in the beginning. Although, you have to get to the place where you are doing this for yourself because nobody else can do it for you. So losing weight for other people, that will only get you so far. If you're willing to get real about how you really feel, this is something else about this here too that just came to me as I'm speaking. A lot of overeaters, a lot of emotional eaters, a lot of binge eaters are eating to try to avoid feeling their feelings. Well, guess what? The shame, the depression, the frustration, all of that you try to stuff down with the food, it's still there. It doesn't go anywhere. You're just making a bigger pile of it the more you eat to try to avoid it. So what if you were to just let yourself get real, take stock of where you are, feel the shame of what you've done to yourself, and maybe even allow yourself to get excited about the fact that you did this to yourself. Let's get real. Nobody else did this to you. But because you're the one who did this to yourself, that means that you can get yourself out of this. Now, that doesn't mean that you know how, and it doesn't mean that you can do it without help. But you're the one who has to take the action to get the help. You are still the one who has to decide that you deserve better and that you deserve to honestly feel good about yourself. I mean, if you really get honest, do you really feel good about yourself being overweight, being obese, being out of control with your eating? Does that really make you feel good? I don't know anybody who feels good about that. People can lie and say that they feel good about it. They really don't. They just don't want to get real with themselves. And hey, everybody has free will. Everybody can do whatever they want. These other people, they're not your responsibility. They're not your problem. You are your problem. And what are you going to do about it? What if you could just allow yourself to feel what you really feel and use those negative emotions to motivate you to start doing something different? And you got to be really careful, because if you do the same things that you've always done and those things have never worked before, why would it be different now? You have to take the inner journey and get to the root of what is it that drives your personal eating. What's going on there? And it's very possible that you don't even know. And I'm not talking about therapy either. I'm talking about getting coaching if you want to do this fast. If you want to get out of where you are and get to the other side as fast as you can. Get to the side where you are feeling good about yourself in your present moment, but you're feeling good about yourself while you are taking positive action to get the weight off. I'm not saying just feel good about yourself and keep binging on ice cream. No, you have to get into the mental, emotional, and vibrational state where you are already that thin woman that you want to be, but your body has to catch up. And the way that your body catches up is by the actions that you consistently take. And the actions that you consistently take to get healthy and fit are struggle-free to do when you have taken the inner journey and you've healed the root of this stuff. No food diet can do that for you. How do you know? Just look at your experience. Just look at what you've been through. So I hope this makes sense to you. If you have any questions, go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/JoLynn Braley, and leave me a comment there. Look up this video. This podcast, episode 559, will be posted as a video on my Facebook page. And if you want to comment under it, you're welcome to. Hey, if you have any topics that you'd like me to cover on the JoLynn Braley Show, go ahead and leave a comment there. Also, if you are serious about breaking free of your ongoing struggles to lose weight, if you love the sound of freedom from the struggle, and it makes sense to you that there's so much more to this than just a food diet, if you would love to go from where you are now and get into that struggle-free zone where you're able to live a healthy lifestyle without sabotaging yourself, without any big struggle, without any big fight, if you'd love to lose weight and keep it off, apply for a complimentary weight loss discovery session with me. Let's see if we can get on the phone, find out if or how I might be able to help you, find out what is stopping you, find out what's in your way. Let's do a deep dive on your personal challenges and see what we can find out. It's a complimentary weight loss discovery session. It's a $350 value, and because it is complimentary, you must complete an application. These spots are highly limited just because of time constraints. Only those who are serious about making real change will qualify. If that's you, and if you would love to stop wondering why you have so much success in your life, except in this one area with your eating and your weight, then go to www.discovery-session.com and apply now. www.discovery-session.com. In the meantime, I support you in feeling your emotions, not eating them, not stuffing them, but feeling them, which can be very hard to do without help and without a proven system to move through it. So don't beat yourself up if you struggle. If you want help to do this, I told you your first step to apply for that complimentary weight loss discovery session. You really can lose weight. You really can get to your goal weight. You really can do this. But it takes a holistic solution to do it the right way and actually heal the root of the problem. Otherwise, if a food diet could have fixed it, you wouldn't be listening to me talk right now. You especially wouldn't have listened all the way to the end of this podcast, right? Thanks for tuning in today. This has been episode number 559 of the JoLynn Braley Show. Get Real episode number 127. Congratulate yourself for being willing to, first of all, listen about getting real. Maybe you're not totally getting real with yourself right now. You got to have accountability for that with a professional coach. But you at least are open to this idea of getting real. Otherwise, you wouldn't be hearing me talk right now. So congratulate yourself for that. Getting real is the first step. And again, it's not about beating yourself up. It's about getting honest with yourself so that you can get to your goal weight and succeed overall, fully, wholly, and completely with this challenge that you've been dealing with your whole life. Lose weight and keep it off. I wish you your best life living inside of your ideal body.